a good look. Yeah, Saints. Yeah, this is real good. Hey everyone, how are y'all doing? We are getting ready for a very special Bible study. As soon as we share this, which is what we're about to do right now, I'll introduce everybody and want you guys to come on in and engage. Share now. Share now. Share now. All right, good. We want y'all to log in. We're not gonna keep y'all forever. This will be nice, a little 45 minutes with the team. Yeah, the team. All right. So if you're watching us right now, say hello. Tell us where you're watching from. In the comment section, make sure you tag all your friends and your family, like Tevin is doing right now. Greater Zion is saying what's up. We got Tyree behind the camera, and we got Tyree sneezing.
Sorry.
This is definitely gonna be live, but it's gonna be good. So I'm sitting here with Tevin Jones, who is the overseer of our youth ministry after 12. I assume I still have young people. You don't know who you pastoring now, and then we got Chidi Orunkwa, who is one of our elders, one of 4 elders that we have, serves well. We got Danny Harrison, who is Daniel HHH. He is a poet, member, but a founding member of Descendants of David, and also a member of One Accord, and he also serves as the chairman in training at Greater Zion. And then over our visual department, I just read the title, Tyree.
Yes, you did.
And then
Only
me,
high.
I just babysit everybody until Jesus comes back and picks everybody up. All right, so good afternoon to you, Sister Walker, Chantel, Sweet Pea is watching, Sharon, Alicia Edwards is watching. How are you doing? Anita is watching. Of course, Jason is watching. Ray Smith is watching. So yeah, Crystal Jones is watching. Mr. Ty Mikes is watching. So everyone that is watching, here's what we need you to do. We need you to share this, and then we need you to tag your friends and your family and interact with us. George Gammons from Chicago, Illinois is watching. So we officially say welcome to a very special Bible study presentation today at noon, well 12:30, and then tonight at 7 p.m. Letizia is watching. All right, hello to everybody. Tag everybody. Tag your man. Tag your man. Tag your man and woman. All right, we're gonna get into this conversation. So I've been talking about building teams, and I oftentimes want to take a break from just sitting and teaching you guys, because what I'm discovering is that I do a bunch of talking and people listen, but are they really hearing? Are they really applying it? So I thought I would bring in, listen, so that no one get their feelings hurt. Yes, the crew is bigger than this.
Yeah, for sure.
But these are the people who were available today, right? And I wanted to hear from them about building teams, about certain qualities they look at when they're building their team. How are they going to be a team member as they are part of various teams, such as Greater Zion? We're going to have that discussion. And then we're going to get into what really prompted this based off of my Instagram post that is getting a whole lot of little mixed reviews. And I'll bring that up in a minute. All right, so let's kick it off. Let's kick it off. So yeah, talk to me. So, we live in a time where it seems like it's promoted that you can do it all by yourself.
Right.
Like, you don't need no one. You can be a one-man show, a one-woman show. Let's open up by asking the question, and each person take turns answering. Do you believe in that? Do you believe that what God, this is good for cheating. Do you believe that what God has for you to do, you don't need no one else to get it done, you can do it by yourself? Or do you believe that it is really impossible to really achieve what God has for you unless you have a team? Let's start there.
Absolutely not. I do not think that you can just do everything by yourself. I do not. And that's just a short answer. I'll let them go ahead and elaborate later.
But you do a lot by yourself.
No, I don't. I don't actually. A lot of things that come from me are probably last minute because I have to end up doing it by myself.
Ooh.
But initially, I always ask for help.
Okay.
If it's not assistance logistically, it's like solicited advice or any type of questions that I may have on how to do something, but it's never on my own.
Okay. And these questions, guys, we want your answer in the comment section. Crystal said, I need a team, exclamation mark. But then she said the right team.
Right. Terrell just said Danny is very independent. Independent, and just working exclusively by yourself, trying to do some things is different.
I feel like you're just saying the same thing.
No, I'm not.
Okay, you are independent, yes, but you don't agree that you should work exclusively by yourself.
No, being independent means like, for me, showing initiative to be able to do something or put something into action, but actually doing the work, no, I'll need other people to do it. But as far as showing initiative and getting things done and having the direction, yes.
I think you rewrote what the meaning of the word means, though.
What?
Because independent, it's kind of like you work independently. You know what I mean? To be dependent means there's a team because there's some type of responsibility on someone else that you have to work with someone.
Right. So what I'm saying is, as far as the initiative and getting things done, if I have an idea of something, I want to look at Tevin.
We're talking to him too.
It's like in order to start to put some things into action, I may have an idea, But as far as working solely by myself, no, not all the time. I'm not going to say I never do that, but not all the time.
All right, Cheating.
No,
Cheating looked like he wanted to jump rope in.
Because also
you're very independent.
So
now
cheating. No,
no, I'm just kidding.
No, but my I am very independent, but I feel like my answer is like Danny's, that I am independent, but not by choice. So it's and so I've learned to be able to do a lot of things by myself, but not by choice.
Okay. All right, Tab.
All right, so there's no way you can get things done without a team. There's no way, right? You can't get it done without a team. I echo the sentiments of Elder and also Dick and Danny that I've learned to just be independent. A lot of people know me looking like, bro, you about to say something ridiculous because I will not say something and try to get it done. Be like, I don't need nobody, I got it done. And then I have to end up asking for help. I do think that since the series has started, it has opened me up to actually act differently. Because at 29, I'm telling you, I can do it with you, without you, or in spite of you. And I've become a different person during the series because I know you cannot, we go further together, right? But my actions, I'll try to get it done by myself.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that you are easy to work with? Do you think that? So let me ask you this, because the sentiments that we've heard, at least between Chidi and Danny, and maybe Tevin agrees, is that, well, at first I attempt to work with others, but then they prove themselves to be unreliable, and so I end up having to do it on my own. So the honest question, because remember, this part of the series was introspective, like looking at yourself. Right. So it's easy for us to be like, don't nobody want to help me. Or if you look at yourself, are you always easy to help?
Can anybody jump in?
Anyone can jump in.
Do you want to go first? So I'm going to go ahead and start. No, I'm not always easy to work with. And I've had to learn that with the team that I work with. You know, and to yourself personally, you have an idea of who you are, but you don't always project that in others, and others don't always see what you feel about yourself internally. So I've learned that I don't always communicate properly. I've learned that I'm stubborn and I don't always listen. I've learned that I can procrastinate all the time. So in my head, you know, you always think you're the best version of yourself, but you can always put off something subconsciously that you don't realize. So I've had to have that feedback about myself so that I can start to change some things in how I work so that it can be more effective.
Good. One of you guys, who wants to take it next?
All right. Okay.
It's okay.
All right.
Devin acts like he on the couch.
So,
He's like, okay.
All right. So I'm not that easy to work with. Like I can be very difficult to work with.
I'm glad he said it.
But then in certain areas I can also be easy to work with. But it's just I'm learning with team 1 or team 2 or team 3. Like I've not just been on one team, and so I've heard and understood from my performance that I'm not the easiest, like communication wise, procrastination, and certain things like that. So I'm not the easiest to work with, and I've come to terms with understanding that I have to adapt to be a team player. Like it takes you actually being intentional on being a team player. And that's what I'm getting better at now. Like intentionality is everything, right? And so I didn't have that, and I'll just go back to the beginning of the series. I didn't have that, going into the beginning of the series, even as a leader, right? I haven't really had or mastered it, and so I'm not the easiest person to work with, and that's just all facts.
Okay, that's fine. Cheating. First of all,
I don't want to do this.
You're not being easy to work with.
You're here now. But I want to say this, that the comments are going up. So while you're contemplating whether or not you want to do this, let's read a couple of comments. Terrell said, it takes a team, but it works great when everyone does a great job in the role they play. Terrell, that's Terrell McLaughlin. Terrell Finister said, but are you easy to work with? That's a great flip question. Malcolm said, I'm not easy to work with. But he heads a whole ministry. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
Alicia said this though, but I want to say her comment after you replied. Raynell said, I'm a team player, but I don't like people.
Hey.
I don't know how that works.
I fully understand him. I fully.
No, that was Raynell. That's a woman.
I'm sorry. I fully understand her.
Right.
Her.
All right.
Sorry,
So
the name.
come on. Are you easy to work with?
Okay, so
I think you're going to set me up for Alicia's
I know,
comment.
it's okay.
Not avoid this question.
No, I can't. It's not. So I feel okay. So I feel I. Man.
You can't hold back.
No, because the reason.
He's trying to calculate.
The reason why I feel like this is a hard question for me is because initially I feel like I am easy to work with, but I've learned that over time, because people aren't as consistent, that I become harder to work with over time. Because the more I work with the same people, and if I keep seeing the same thing, I become more harder to work with because I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over.
Right.
And then once I get to the point where I feel like I'm repeating, then it's like I don't want to do this no more. So I learned that I go from easy, like, oh, we laughing, we joking, and then it's like, why is Chidi's face like that?
Right.
So it's because it's like we've already laughed about this, we've already joked about this, but it's not funny anymore.
Right.
You're still doing it.
Now you're costing me money.
Yes,
Right.
he's still doing it.
Now
You're wasting my time now. So it's like
Okay. Tyree wants to jump in, but before I get to Tyree, Tim says, I don't want to be easy to work with. Get on my level.
Hey!
I don't.
Oh, okay. No, wait.
I wish Tim was here. Because you just see Chidi.
Wait.
Chidi's looking like, now Tim and Chidi have to work together. So let me put this in context to everybody that's reading these comments. Tim is our minister of music, right? First of all, everyone's going to be like, what kind of church is this? The mind that we're real. The mind dance
Real
minister
people.
said, "I'm not easy to work with." Right. One of our elders was like, "I become even worse to work with."
I'm saying, like,
Our
over
youth
time.
pastor just said, "I don't communicate well," and my administrator was like, "And I procrastinate. I'm slowful, and I don't get it done." Right. And then our minister of music just said, "And I'm not gonna be easy to work with. Get on my level." I just want everyone to know, if you come to Greater Zion, these are real people. We're on our way to heaven. We are honestly not there. All right, Tyree, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I can be difficult to work with when people don't allow me to do what I'm good at. Like when people, you know how like people, so I do what I do. I study it. This is what I do. This is my life's work. Like I'll still figure out a way to do this if I was in a wheelchair. And yet for some reason, people still find a way to second guess me when I've clearly done what I've shown you I'm about to do again 50 million times. So then I become difficult to work with because I'm like, what did you call me here for? What am I doing here? You know, if you want it to look terrible, then don't call me. You know. So,
Right. So let me help you. So but this is good. So Alicia said this though. She said, I think that everybody works differently.
Yes.
So she's basically like, it's not that we're not easy to work with or people are not easy to work with. It's just that we all have different styles in how we work, and sometimes maybe it clashes with other people and their difference, right? I think that this is a good setting because one of the challenges when you have an A team is amazing because everybody always wants to build like the best team, but that comes with challenges. Let's talk about that, right? Because I feel like Greater Zion is an A team. Actually, no, I'm not gonna be modest. Greater Zion has an A team. Like we go through seasons where it's like B plus, you know, but right now we good.
Yeah.
But that comes with challenges. Everyone talks about the years that the Lakers like swept, whether it was the 80s dynasty or whether it was during Kobe and Shaq, or it seems like it's about to happen again with LeBron James. But what nobody talks about is having that many personalities, lead personalities. So for example, and Danny's gonna jump in, when it's time to film, so you guys will understand, Tyree is anal about things that me and Chidi be like, I don't understand. So Tyree will 4K you to death. Right? Tyree is like, but what happened when we was like, oh my God, like you just doing so much, you're doing the most, and he advocated for it, and then when we looked at it, we was like, oh, he was right. That was so dope, you know. So let's talk a little bit about being on a team where everyone pretty much is like an A-type personality, like, you know, because I think that's the struggle for a lot of people who are watching, because you're going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to want the best employees, but that comes with its own challenges. And I sometimes clash because I have everything you guys said. I'm like Captain Planet. Like all of that is in me, right? Except for the slowful and procrastination. That used to be in me. You brought it up, right? But the other stuff, like I progressively become harder to deal with. I do. Like if I'm gonna give you one or two assignments, and then if you keep dropping the ball, like I have nothing to say to you. I don't even know why you're still here. I don't want you. My mom is always advocating for a particular person right now. So I'm like, fire him. You know, they're like, well, no, you can't. I'm like, fire him. They're like, well, we keep having this discussion. But everyone on our team at Greater Zion, for those that will be like, there's such excellence. Behind the scenes, you just need to know this. Everyone on our team, we are like mad, like we're like bulldog mindset on assignment. So we clash a lot of times. So how is that? Everyone is A-type personality at Greater Zion. Everyone. I need you to know that. I don't know how. Me and Chidi got into it one time. Well, it had nothing to do with ministry, but it kind of did. It kind of did. Chidi and Tevin, I don't know how they're sitting next to each other, right? God has done a wondrous work, right? And Tyree always disagrees with like my idea of like thumbing it down to 720. Like he hates it. And Danny and I are consistently at each other's throats, right? But at the same time, we all work together.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, Tyree's raised this.
all right, but you know, go ahead, Danny.
Okay, I'm gonna answer this. I wanted to set up something else too, but to answer that question, I think that we all play to each other's strengths. It's true.
That's exactly what Kiana just said.
Oh,
Kenyatta,
really?
she said
Okay,
it right now.
so we all have strong personalities, but we also have to learn when to submit and when to dial it down. But for me, well, even I think that we all can agree, for all of us, being in a church where we're Christ, where we're Christ-minded, we learn, when to pick our battles. We learn compassion, forgiveness, mercy, all of those things, right? So the clashing a lot of times can be emotional. The clashing a lot of times is just because when we don't agree. But just to give you, Pastor, you and I, for example, you're the pastor.
Right.
Right? So I understand your position. I understand that you're over me. So you're not going to always listen to advice or suggestions or anything like that.
I usually don't.
So, but at the end of the day, me knowing your position and me knowing the part that I play, the best thing for me to do is just be obedient. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I can say, Pastor, I suggested that you do it this way. It didn't. So let's try the way that I suggested.
Yeah, I want to tap in on that and playing on strengths. That's a good point. Y'all remember that. But I want to let people know about, because Malcolm just put something in the comments like that's good. He said, we all compromise at GZ.
Yes.
And that whole thing that we all humble ourselves to one another, we all submit ourselves to one another, that's a big point. And that always is a struggle for most people when they first join Greater Zion. Tevin can speak to that in a second, right? Especially when you come from a place where you was the man, like you did everything. Greater Zion becomes this place where like we don't care. Like you shined over there on Normandy and 77, but we don't care anything on 2408 North Wilmington because we're good and we can do it without you, and we were doing it before you and you joined us, right? But what a lot of people don't know, and Chidi may be able to jump in here, is that what I have learned to do over the course of maybe the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years, is that whole submitting and compromising. Like as the pastor, I have tried my best, and tell me if I'm doing a horrible job, but I try to do my best in being like, I concede to you. Like, all right, like, no. Yeah, Chidi, okay, I see what you're saying, Chidi. No, that is better than what I was saying. Like I'll say, I should have, or I will text, this is for you pastors, I'll text and be like, I'm running late. Or I can't make it and I'm so sorry. Or I gave you this song and I know it's the last minute. I really, really want it and I'm sorry I just inconvenienced your whole life. Like, I don't come to everybody and be like, no, you should be here. This whole thing we're doing right now, this was like, I just pulled this together last night. And I mean, just to be honest, but I didn't go to everyone was like, I want to do this, you need to be here. Like, it was like, can you do it? If you can't, I understand. And that makes it so much easier to work with.
Right.
But you have to be intentional in killing your A-type personality, though. Because it's easy for us to be bossy. Ted.
So I want to jump in. Like, Danny hit a few great points. And I think what I want to highlight is understanding role play. Like, if there's a championship team, you have a LeBron James, right? You have an AD, then you have a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, right? Any type of team that you actually played on, you have someone who understands roles. And so, like, what we do great at GZ is understanding, like, we can do what we do in our role. Our pastor just preached about it last Sunday, staying in your lane or doing what you're graced to do. And some of the things that, like, I see at Greater Zion and what I've learned in the last 2 years is understanding how to be better at what God has called you to do, right? And like staying in that space where you are able to produce, and so that like Elder Luca and I can actually be in a space where we're doing nothing but making sure that the kingdom work is done. You know what I'm saying? For the sake of the ministry, for the sake of understanding that we have a bigger goal. It's bigger than us. It's bigger than what we can even talk about, right? It's bigger than that. So it's that kind of teaching and practicing that we do at GZ.
Yeah.
It's in between the walls, like in between the wall of the church and the Blue Room Cafe, like it's dragging out conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like no, that's what you're not gonna do, right? And this is what we can do. So let's go get it done. So I would say it's strong practice at Greater Zion.
So Ralph Finister said, this is facts. I held every auxiliary at my old church, and when I got to GZ, baby, I was like, I'ma just sit over here. They got it.
Small fish in the big pond.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Chidi and Tevin. No. I just gotta ask because now it's like your test was a testimony, and we need to help. And we need to help. Well, we don't know what kind of laughter that could be from Chidi.
Well, the fact that
Chidi could be like, we ain't past it. Chidi could be like, we're not all the way past it. But so, how did you guys get to a place where you're able to work a little bit better now than before?
I feel like it's a lot better than before. Period.
I mean, for the most part, I believe it's just, I think just time, a little bit of understanding, and a lot of just acknowledging your part.
Yeah.
Just acknowledging your part, and just, you know, being able to start there. You know, you can't really focus on, I mean, that's what this whole year has been like, really, but I mean, I feel like even before then, it's just really just focusing on your part of it. You know, like like what did you add to the situation,
right? And
what can you do to help make the situation just a little bit better,
right?
Yeah, so
that's good, GD.
No, it's not. No, because I mean, because it's one of those things that I feel like I've always tried to do. I mean, because even even as becoming new to an elder, you know, and being able to just work with all the voices and personalities that we have in our elder circle, and just being able to, like we said before, just being able to recognize everybody's strengths. And you know, oftentimes most people feel like, oh, you know, you're getting pushed over, you're getting overrun, or sometimes like people will come to me. This is just, well, I'll say it. So people will come to me.
Yeah.
People will come to me, and a lot of times people will come to me and they will ask me a question because they know that for the most part, like I'm listening to the question that you're asking, but I know that you're only asking me because you want the soft yes. So I know you came to me just to hear me say yes. So I'm already so as soon as you come to ask me the question, I'm already clicked. I'm already off.
Right.
So like you're asking me the question, you're saying blah 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 blah, and I'm
you
just
don't
like,
really want the real answer.
You don't want the real answer, and so I'm like blah 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 blah, and you talking, and then by the time you're finished, I'm just like okay, and because that's what you wanted to hear.
Right.
So I say okay, and so oftentimes then I'll go back and I'll talk to like Elder Walker, and she'll be like, why did you say okay? I'm like, well, because I knew that that's what they came looking for.
Right.
And so oftentimes, like, we'll have a discussion, and then we'll go back to the person, and be like, oh, you only changed your answer because Elder Walker said so. Like, actually, no. Actually, what I wanted to say was actually worse than what she said to you. But because I didn't want to say that to you, I gave you the yes.
That's true.
I gave you the yes just to make sure that you can go ahead and get what you needed to get done. But oftentimes, so it's like working together, understanding each other's strengths, and I understand like a part of like trying to get things like in a full, complete like square box is one of like Elder Walker's strengths, right? And so like I leave that to her to do.
She just gave all the shock face emojis.
Because I know she's listening. So like because I mean that's the kind of stuff that we talk about like in the background. So oftentimes people will feel like, oh, she's overrunning you, and oftentimes like they don't understand the conversations that we're having. And the conversation that we just had now, where you're like, we're playing to each other's strengths, is one of the things that we determined to do off jump. Like that's what we did just off of GP,
right? Like
from the beginning, and which is the reason why we work well together, but we still fight. So,
but you know what? That's important though is a couple things. So Courtney Nicole jumped on here. She said it's good to disagree, right? She said clashing as it pertains to a task is understandable. It is important that while you may not agree with their thought, not to devalue the person's character,
correct,
or integrity on the team. Okay, so Courtney, I love Courtney. So that's a great point. I want to add a little sauce to it though, because what I have discovered is that a lot of times people assume that your critique and your honest critique of someone is you devaluing them.
Correct.
Right? So me saying, now I will say I've gotten better at saying that's stupid, right? That's devaluing. But I need to acknowledge that it's stupid. I just need to not call you stupid, and I need to say it maybe different, like, well, make that make sense to me, or
I'm trying to
understand.
Right.
That doesn't connect, right? And where I'm going with that is, I think it's important that we play to each other's strengths, right?
Yes.
Okay, amen, praise the Lord, right? But I think that one thing that we've been teaching, and you brought it out, is that it is also important that in order for you to have a great team, you got to have an honest team that is okay with having the hard conversation about your weaknesses.
Yes.
Because if you don't get your weaknesses under control, they undermine your strengths. Right? So it's like, I gotta have the conversation with you that, hey, you know what? When you got up there and did intercessory prayer, you knocked it out the park. But you always late. But I feel like people don't want to have that conversation. Like they never want to have the conversation of, why are you always late?
Right.
It's always like, well, just be glad I'm here.
Right.
And we deal with that a lot of times where it's like, play to the strengths, but a lot of times I can't even get to your strengths because I'm vexed by your weakness.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because you talked about ownership and, taking accountability, and that is a part of that. One of the things that I did that a lot of people also don't know, and it was very hard for me because I'm the pastor of the church, right? So it was hard for me. I sat down with my elders and said, y'all have to tell me the real about me. And I said, and here's the honest thing about me. I'm not going to want to hear it. Number two, I'm going to have an attitude when you tell me, right? I can't help myself.
Yes.
But I need you to look past that and still tell me the honest. So they've had hard conversations. They was like, well, when you do this, you just throw it out there. The planning part about it sometimes is like impossible to do, and we can't get it done. And you get mad at us because we don't get it done right, but really it's on you, Pastor. Like, you really suck at how you cast vision. And it really
Never using those words.
That's how I heard it.
Don't remember using those words.
I heard it.
Well, that's how you heard it.
Akila said that part.
No.
She's not on here.
Akila said it on
She didn't say that.
But as hard as it was, right? It was a conversation though that was a turning point in my leadership. It really was. So I try to do a better job in pre-planning. Like now I'm zooming them to death, right? But they can't complain because I'm like, no, this is what you critique me about.
Right.
Casting the vision.
Right.
And it's okay to be good at what you do, but still have areas you need to improve on. And I feel like that's missing in a lot of teams. So Danny, I threw a lot out. Speak on whatever.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to Tevin. I'm gonna go to Tevin.
I've learned from my experience.
Tim said, "Uh-oh."
I've learned from my experience at Greater Zion that the best leaders are the ones who didn't want to be leaders in the first place. I feel that a lot of times there's a clashing with some people that you're over because they want to do more. But don't necessarily execute it in the best way.
Who you talking about, Danny? No, I was like, no. His answer seems so pointed.
Much more responsibility added to you that a lot of the things you used to do when you weren't in that leadership role, you can't do anymore. So you require more from the team of people that you need, right? But a lot of the things that you yourself, so a lot of the things that I myself did and didn't do, I kind of compare myself the way that I work to other people. So I've learned, about not having excuses. Do what you say you can do. If you can't do it, it's okay to say that you can't. And don't compromise. So some things that I don't tolerate excuses. If you come to me with an excuse, I'm not gonna ask you to do anything else if I've asked you to do maybe 2 or 3 things and you didn't come through. So I'm not gonna put anything else in your hand because I know that you're not going to be successful.
Let me ask you a question. When is it a time for somebody to say, I quit?
I don't think that anybody in this church is going to say, I quit. I think that
that's a problem, though.
It is. I think that they're just going to walk away. And I've learned from my experience that people say that they want accountability, But in some instances, when I've had to hold people accountable, they use that as an excuse to walk away and point fingers rather than just say, this is something that I can't do, or I've had enough and I'm just going to bow out.
Yeah, and you know what? And the reason why I brought that up is because I think what's hurting a lot of teams right now is that people are on teams that suck, and they know they suck, but they just won't like walk away so that God can send someone who's better, you know. And then or you got people who quit they're really quitting the team, but they blame it on God, and they say it's God shifting my season, or the leader, right? But I like the point that you brought up though about like what you do now, like kind of pushes you to a place where like the way I took it, where you now have to lean on people to do more. And that's what a lot of people who are working with you don't understand. That I'm not coming and asking you necessarily because like I want to be dependent on you, but what I'm called to do requires that I cannot just carry it by myself.
Right.
I have to work with you. Right. So for me, I was like, there was a lot of times recently where I was like, you know what, I could go back to like, I don't need nobody, I can get it done. And then I said to myself, oh hell no, no, that's too much work. Right. So I was like, so what I need to do is try to figure out what do I need to change in my leadership style that makes it more, you know, comfortable for the people who are following me. At the same time, you know, we get it all done, because I don't want to run the soundboard and jump up there and try to preach and then try to jump on the organ, you know, and play while or get out the hoops triggers and try to back myself. Like, that's ridiculous. Tam, cheating, Tam?
So one of the things that we brought out that I want to circle back around and kind of bring up, because it's not really popular, but it's something that will make us more productive, is actually examining where we're weak at and practicing on becoming stronger. Because if that's a space, well, you've been harping on that all year, like teaching on that, not harping, excuse me, you've been teaching that all year and giving us the real on how to look at yourself and understand where you're weak at, so that the team then becomes stronger, the ministry becomes a bit more effective. And so if there is a clash in how you hate critique, then you have to then sit and take a humble pill. Or if there is your procrastination, or if there is something where you're just not humble enough to those that somebody's just as good as you, I think that there is a need for a generation like mine to sit down and understand that we have to make ourselves better in order for us to go to another level. So there are people in my pastor's generation who have sat down, who have gone through to be a team player, and now is able to be a leader. But we want to be a leader without going through the process, right? So the process that we skip over, right, produces a weak leader and an individual who always has issues, who always has problems. And it's because of what even Elder Alunko brought it out. Like, I found my part. I found where I was weak. I found where I was wrong. I found where I was right. I found where I could grow. And that's one place where I really want us to park, or I wanted to bring out to the conversation for my generation. You cannot get the seat, or you cannot have power without process. You cannot get better if you do not look in the mirror and own that there are situations that make everybody else vulnerable and puts the team at risk because you are not becoming better.
Was that hard for you to do?
It's been a hard process, because at the point,
we see it.
Yeah, at the point where I'm trying to.
But we can see no, because you're 29, so we can see that you struggle between humility and ego, because that's usually the age where you do struggle, because you're like, I'm grown, but then I got so much I gotta learn. And then half of you just like, I already know it. And then the other half be like, nigga, no, you don't. You know?
Right.
But go ahead. So
I think that was really the general, like the end of the statement was, there is growth process that people actually avoid and try to get to the top of the staircase, and you will fall if you do not have the right team around you saying, you're trash at that. Take another look at it. No, you did not read. And no, this is how you negotiate. No, you're supposed to be on time, not 2 minutes late. So if I tell you 11, don't get here at 11:02.
Right. That's good. Kenyatta said, and I want to throw it to you, Chidi, on this. The way we critique is key, especially if you know who you are talking to and their struggles or their triggers. Then we all need to grow if we are going to be active in ministry and follow or lead others. So she's like, it's how you critique. So Do you think it should always be a, like, I call it the whitewash version, you know? So, like, I'm really glad that you're here, you know, but, like, this is the fourth time you were late, and I know you got so much going on. I know, but just, you know, maybe just a little bit, you can come on time, you know, or we just may have to fire you. Like, should we always have to do that so that we don't trigger people? Or when is it a time where we ought to just be like, you know, you really are a problem. You getting on my nerves. Like, go.
So it's okay.
Chidi does this way.
So one thing that I would tell my sons is that you can't be the person who needs to be talked to and also be the person who hates to be talked to. So
send your offering to GreaterZionChurch. That point right there.
So
good.
it's like no matter how I tell you that you need to be on time, or no matter how I put it, you're always going to have a problem with it because you are the person who just has a problem with people telling them what they need to, you know, what they need to do. So you're just that person. And so you have to be able to recognize that I hate being talked to. So then I also then have to be the person who doesn't need to be talked to. So you can't be both. You can't be you just can't be both. So you just can't be both. But that takes a self-examination. It just takes that, you know, because I watch my sons, you know, especially Chidi, like he would get an attitude every once in a while, and I would look at him, I'm like, why are you getting mad at me for having to tell you something that you needed me to tell you to do it?
Right.
Like I don't.
So let's add me to that. So when is it a time though where, because somebody might be struggling with this, and I can get my answer, but I want to hear from you guys.
Okay.
When is it a time to be passive, right, in your correction, and when is it a time to be, you know, like to put the slam down? Like,
Okay, so under your leadership is where I really put to practice this thing, dealing with young people, right? Dealing with youngsters. There has to be a conversation, and it has to be understanding first. And so you have to allow room for growth. But I think, and this is just how I've learned. It's like it's really like maybe the fourth or fifth time. I will put a number to it, right? And that's where you kind of have to dive into pointing out what the issue is and demanding better, right? And so demanding better isn't coming at you or cutting off your neck, but it's definitely demanding the excellence that you need to get you to the next level, right? And so after I've had conversation 1, conversation 2 about telling you how to do it, conversation 3, right, about telling you how to do it, and like, hey, I understand, life happens, yada, yada, yada. Conversation 4 is, so I now demand that you do it a different way because this is going to take you to the next level. This is going to help us become a better ministry. So I would say, just to put a number and to be figuratively, to be illustrative, 4th time.
4th time. All right, Danny. Danny's like, after the first time, I'm done with you. Remember, that's what he said at the beginning.
No. I like what Tevin said, and I do agree with what he said. For me personally, the way that I have conversations, the first time I'll have a conversation, well, not even the first time, but initially when I have conversations, I'll first ask about the person's well-being, because sometimes things aren't done because there may have been an emergency, or they may have been something else that prevented them from, you know, from what it was that they had to do. So I'll probably open up a conversation. How are you? How are things? You know, and then I'll bring up, hey, I needed you to do X, Y, or Z. You know, what happened? Was there something that happened? If there is nothing that happened, I'll let them know, okay, well, hey, we really needed you to do this. Next time, can you blah, blah, blah. Like, do you have the, first and foremost, do you have the ability to be able to do what was put in your hands?
So this is a good conversation because they're going up in the comment section, and Tanya's going up, Terrell's going up. Me and Chidi disagree with this. All right, Tyree, go Tyree, and then I'm gonna throw the Chidi because I'm ready. I'm jumping in on this one. I'm jumping in on this one.
Wait.
No, it's Tyree's turn.
No. After I've had those conversations, if you still don't produce, instead of demanding, I just neglect. So I do that. So if I know that you're not able to produce after maybe the 4th conversation, like I said before, I just won't ask you to do anything else.
Wow. Okay, Tyreek, and while we go to
Okay.
Tyreek, Quentin Dixon said, I think it's arrogant to be in error or out of order and still be defensive. It reveals the selfishness and also the lack of responsibility to the ministry and the people of God. Quentin, God bless you. All right, go ahead, Tyreek.
What's
Okay.
up,
Let
LB?
me make sure I still have the same thought. Okay. First point. Because I'm not usually the one at the top, even like in my other endeavors when it comes to film and everything too. I'm usually like right underneath someone or similar to like Danny or Chidi's position. One thing that I've realized is that like certain people on a team who speak a completely different language than everybody else, like for me, I speak the camera language, or if you have somebody who was in IT, I've learned that learning to like convert that into some kind of English to everybody else is so important.
Okay.
Like speaking Spanglish in a way, I guess. Because for me, I've realized a lot of times I've tried to communicate shots, or I've tried to communicate, like I talked about last night, I was like, do you want me to set up a vibe, or do you just want me to set up lights?
Right now, I was like, what?
You like, what is a vibe, right? And so,
I was like, just
you know, and so I'm like, okay, let me speak pastor's language. That's gonna give you this type of look, pastor, you know, or to whoever else. And so I realized too that like being under people all the time, but also as a leader, you can't also be afraid to then challenge them. Like you had said, you're not gonna want to hear it. There's been times when I've had clashes with my own team members who I'm usually the more passive person, but then I pull them aside too and be like, okay, why do you think we can't do it this way? Like, what was your original vision for this? And then sometimes I'll be like, man, I don't know. I mean, we and I'm like, but didn't you demand greatness of me? I'm like, you demanded the best out of me, so I'm telling you, this is what it is.
Oh,
You don't want to. I'm like, you don't want to put the extra in, but you told me, you're the one who told me you wanted it at this level, and now because we're down on time, well, figure it out. Well, you know, and so
yeah.
I used to be
now
passive
you're not
on that.
understanding what I'm going through.
Right.
Right.
All right, Chidi, go.
So that's the point that I wanted to make. Like I often, like what I will do is my style is really determined based on the person that I'm talking to and where it is that they say that they want to go. So if they say that say that they want to be great, then I'm never going to let up on it. I'm never going to let up. So I'm always going to push them. I'm always going to, like point out what needs to be corrected. I'm always going to make sure that they are fine tuning what it is that they said that they wanted to do.
That's good.
If a person said like, oh no, I just want to be, whatever, then it's like, okay, then fine. Yeah, I'm gonna leave you
I have no
alone.
expectations.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
but I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna encourage you. I'm gonna make sure that you understand that you're doing a great job. But I'm never gonna push you because you that's not what you're trying to do. That's not what you're trying to. You're not trying to. You're not. I'm not saying you're not trying to be nothing, but you're not trying to be great. There are people who, even in basketball, there are people who want to be Michael Jordan but don't want to spend the hours that it takes to be him, right? So it's like I'm not gonna push you. I'm not gonna tell you, okay, let's wake up at 5 o'clock, get into the gym, blah 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 blah. If you just want to be like Snash or whatever. If you just want to be a random person, if you just want to be KCP, you want to be a random person. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna pull you. I'm not gonna wake you up at 5 a.m. and take you to the gym. But if you said that you want to be great, then okay, well then let's wake up. Let's practice. Let's go do this. Let's go do that, and get it done.
So I want to
Can I
add
chime in?
before I throw it back to you guys. I want to add this real quick. So my issue always has been that I feel that you shouldn't charge me for the fact that you didn't do your homework on what you were undertaking and what came with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's good.
Jesus made it a point to say to everyone before they join, yo, there's a cross associated with this journey, right? Foxes have holes, birds of air have nests, but rolling with me, we don't know where we're going to sleep sometimes, right? So count up, like he would say that all the time, count up the cost. In Luke, he goes even deeper and says, like, who starts a project and doesn't count up how much it's going to cost to build it? If you do that, you're going to get halfway into the project and not get it done, and everyone's going to laugh at you. So for me, the complex has been, it's not my fault that you saw the standard. That's what drew you here.
Right.
Right? So it's like, why did you join? Or why did you get this or why did you get this involved if you didn't ask yourself, could I keep up with the pace?
Right.
You know what I mean? So going back to that example, but on the flip side, it's like, so if you know the legacy of the Lakers, right? And no shade to Clipper fans, right? But versus the Clippers, you already know playing for the Lakers is going to require a different level of training,
Yep.
a different level of coaching. You know, the coach is going to talk to you different. You know, so if you just wanted to be like the 76ers, you know, then you should have played for them.
Yeah.
I never understand why people join teams, right, who operate at a high level of excellence.
And they get mad.
And then get mad when we look at you and say, why are you here? You know, so I wanted to point that out because what sometimes irks me is when people start being like, it's how you talking to me, it's this, that, and the other. But it's like, but I'm already frustrated because you already knew what we were expecting from you. And the fact that you didn't do it, I'm upset that you haven't even taken accountability. For example, I never come, and I could be wrong. Help me. Danny comes with the thing of, well, how's your day? What's going on in your life? Maybe there's something going on and why it is you totally missed the filming.
Right.
I have a problem with that. You'll never hear me ask that before I get on your head about not being there. You know why? Because we have iPhones and Galaxies and Androids. You can send an email, a text message. Like, it is not that hard to communicate to people in enough time, right? If you know your call time is 6 p.m. and you are and the call time is 6 p.m. in Cerritos, and you're at the hospital in Cedar Sinai. You already knew at 5:30 you wasn't going to be there. You know,
maybe
at
even
4:30.
3.
But the point is, you knew well before 6 p.m. that we needed to get somebody else. Why do I need to be, understanding about your lack of communication? And then you got the nerve, after you're a horrible communicator, to be offended by how I'm communicating. Well, you didn't communicate at all. So sometimes that's what I wrestle with. That's just my confession.
I mean, no, it's not. It's not. It's not even. That's your confession, but it's a. I'm sorry if I cut you off, Danny. But it's a real thing, and I feel like that's the reason why just to even take it back to building teams and a team being even synonymous to like a relationship wise or whatever. Because I feel like a lot of times people don't take account of the other person or like what's going on, because everything is based on like what you are given, right? So it's like, well, this is not my job, so you're not paying me to have you're not paying me to be here for whatever, right? And so therefore, since I'm not getting paid like per hour to be here, then whatever I give you is gravy for you. So it's good, it's whatever. And I feel like that's
Come
where,
on,
I feel
you
like
talking
that's
to people that's in the comment
I
section.
feel like
now.
that's where everybody keeps messing up, because I feel like even when you translate it to like relationship wise, because you don't pay each other to be in the relationship, yet you are also considerate of one another.
Yes.
Yeah.
But because people don't ever take account that even while you're working on a team, being in a church, being in wherever, that this is still a relationship, that is still me and you that you're dealing with. You're not just dealing with the task that we're both doing, you're still dealing with me and you did not take in consideration me and you. And so therefore the task that we have together, you let it drop, right? So that's the reason why the dishes aren't done. That's the reason why there's clothes everywhere, because the task that we both have together, you didn't take consideration of the other person, and that's why nothing got done.
Right, and on top of that, then we're gonna throw it to Tevin. On top of that, it always bothers me when the person who may be going through things assumes that because you're able to accomplish the task meant that you're not going through something.
Right.
That is the craziest thing in the world. So when people,
I'm hiding.
yeah, man, when people tell me like, I wasn't there, man. My cousin died this morning. And you be like, so all the other times you saw me present, did you assume that everybody in my family is alive and well? There's times that things have happened in that person's life that keep showing up also.
Yeah.
But there's been times where you say, dang, I can't rearrange it. Like, what day was that? One of the times we was filming, and that was just a crazy day for me.
Right.
Like, I think people died that day
Yeah.
from me, right? But I legitimately, as much as I wanted to cancel it, I was like, I can't do that. Do you know how many people like rearrange their life to be sitting in that barbershop?
Right.
And I showed up anyway. But it makes me mad when other people, like you say, don't take into consideration that all because Tyree is here, Tyree may have bills due today. Lights may be getting cut off. I can't assume that he's fine just because he's showing up. And because I'm having a rough day, it excuses me.
Right.
Tevin, Tyree, Danny.
Right.
This is good. This is good. This is
All right,
good.
I wanted to touch on the fact that, like, as leaders, it's kind of twofold when we come at someone for, I guess, they're non-productive or at least, producing less than what's expected. And then us actually coming at you. As a leader, I've learned at Greater Zion, even in this team building series, is we come at you because we've invested and we've also established relationship, right? And so then people want to conveniently throw out the window relationship, just what he said, and then the investment that I put in you as a leader. See, if I'm being poured into or I'm pouring out, there's some type of reciprocation. Or reciprocation that ought to come out of what we're pouring into, right? And so there are people, and I hate to say this, but there are people who hide behind, it's the way you coming at me. Wait a minute.
Hide behind it.
After all that we have continued to do together and everything that I've invested so that this goes to the next level, I'm coming at you off of that, off of that premise right there. And the relationship that we have goes invisible when it's time for me to jump on your neck. Right. You know what I'm saying? As a leader, and then also, sometimes, leaders can actually go hard without investment and without pouring into or relationship, and that's where oftentimes the conflict has, because in church, oftentimes there's a power struggle.
And I think that's key, because I do think you don't have right to go hard on anything or anyone you haven't invested in. Right. And I learned that the hard way. And Chidi's correct, because where there's relationship, you don't see that you're dropping the task. You see you leaving that person hanging.
Yes.
And that's what pushes you. I think with the team we have now is everyone will be like, no, Pastor, I got you. No, I got, and why? Because it's like, and when we needed you, you had us. And so I think it is going to be key in building a team that relationship has to start. And that is the module of Jesus Christ. Is that he hung out with them first before he started assigning them anything. Guys, it's been an hour already. So we're going to have to, I know it's been an hour already.
I'm sorry.
Not only that, but my mom is cooking. So we're getting ready to go and fellowship and build our team. But we're going to have to cut this off. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's read some more stuff. So Kenyatta Conway said this. Her remarks are great. She said, I'm going to sum it up. She said, but you got to also learn how to read the nonverbals, which can kind of get ahead of the need of the conversation. She was like, that's why you ought to ask for God to show you the heart of your leader. Because a lot of times I don't have to say it if you just saw my reaction to it, right? When you just saw me do like this, you're like, oh, something's wrong. And I think we do that well also too, where that's how we pulled off that whole Compton piece. Like, I knew things were going on without Chidi even saying a word. I knew I can look now and be like, oh, Tyree's tired, or LJ is frustrated. But that does come with prayer and insight. So any closing remarks as we get ready to close and get ready? Let's do this. I know y'all sang to God.
Oh, yes.
Get your offering.
Yes, please. Yes.
Get your offering. I know y'all. Put it in the comments. Do not scroll. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right, y'all. We need your assistance. All right. We got several things coming up. Our learning center is getting ready to open at the end of the month. Yes. Praise the Lord. All this stuff is going to be featured on our website that Chidi has done a great job with. So you go to www.gzcfamily.com. Look, toggle through it. You're going to see everything from Learning Center to Operation Unity, our pull-up service that's happening on next Sunday. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. But we need you to be able to give, because we got to get a tent, we got sound, we got chairs, all that stuff. You can't fall off. And I need y'all to give on a Wednesday like it's Sunday. So I want everybody to get a $20 gift. All right? I want you to get a $20 gift in your hand. Praise the Lord. And I want you to send it right now to our Cash App, $ GreaterZionChurch, or Givelify, GreaterZionChurch family, or you can mail it in, P.O. Box 3272, Compton, California, 90222, or you can drop it off to church tomorrow, all right? 2408 North Wilmington Avenue, Compton, Cali. Luke 6:38, which one of y'all want to grab it?
Give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and run it over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you.
And go, Jabez.
And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, oh, but thou wilt bless me indeed, and that you would enlarge my coast, that you would put your hand upon me, that it may not grieve me. And God granted him that which he requested.
And turn to your neighbor and say,
I expect the harvest for what I'm about to get.
All right, Tyree was like, I'm ready. Tyree's like, I got it. I got all the scriptures. All right, we want you guys to give. Please, everybody give, especially if you enjoyed this. And be sure to follow, your fellow ministry leaders. So Tevin, you can follow him on Instagram at
TJones_1914.
And Chidi.
Oh, Igbo Man, Nigeria.
His is so complicated. Danny.
Daniel H. Poetry.
And Tyree.
Middle Suave 44. I put it in the comments.
All right, yeah, all y'all put it in the comments. And then, of course, me, Michael J.T. Fisher. We're wrapping up by saying this. We need everybody to register for our in-person service. This is the last time we'll be coming together in any way, form, or fashion until New Year's Eve. 7:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. There is a word from the Lord for that fourth Sunday. So you got to go to OctoberTouch 730.eventbrite.com or OctoberTouch 1030.eventbrite.com. We need you to register, you and all and everyone that's coming with you individually, all right? So please do that. Hey, young adults, I didn't see y'all at the last service. I miss y'all. I need to see your face. I need to see how y'all doing. I need to know if y'all good. If y'all in some sin, I just need to look at you so I can pray it off of you and get you in some place of conviction. So all the young adults, I need to see you present. After 12, I need to see y'all present. So y'all should make like that 10:30 joint like y'all's joint. Young adults, really take that service over. Register your friends, all right? We'll be doing social distancing and all that good stuff. I gotta be me and saying this. If you've taken a trip and been on a plane and you've been living your best life and you've been out with your new boyfriend and your new boo and your new girlfriend and you've been eating at all these restaurants and at brunch, don't give me no excuse why you can't come to church next week, all right? If you didn't catch COVID amongst the sinners, you're gonna catch COVID amongst the saints, huh? All right, so I want to see you guys all there. All right, closing remarks. Let's start with Tyree behind the camera. Any last thing you would just want to say?
Nah, I lost it.
Okay.
I think.
I think that as a leader, it's good to have a balance. God has a wrathful side, but he also has a compassionate side.
That's good.
So it's good to have those moments of compassion, and it's also equally as good to have those moments when you do have to have hard conversations and correct.
Chidi?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I feel the same. Like, you should make sure that you have both, and make sure that those that are listening don't always only pay attention to the wrathful side, but understand that each time there isn't a wrathful side, that is compassion.
Ooh. All right.
All right. The last thing I would say is make sure that in your team or as a team member, be coachable, be humble, and know your role. It is important. You have to stay coachable. You have to know your role, and you have to be an important part when it comes to the progression of where your team is going. Team building. Be a team player.
Okay,
I do got one. Hold on. All right, let me change the camera. I was gonna say one of my most latest lessons was understanding is a two-way street, because I've had plenty of team members who've done the same. Well, you don't understand what I'm going through. Well, and then people in the comments, I like this. I don't have any kids, and I've dealt with a lot of people in different circles in my life who seem to think that, well, you don't have kids, so you don't understand what that's like.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that wasn't my choice, but that's also not what I'm here to bear right now. I understand that you have this going on. That don't mean that my life is easy and I don't pay no taxes.
Right. Right. So I'm actually sending your kids to school.
Thank you. Property taxes. But I'm only saying that in the sense of like, when I try to make myself understanding for other people, I expect the same understanding in return. Like, okay, so I can understand your situation. Now understand me and how we gonna, move towards a better solution.
Yeah. That's good. No, I think that's good, because before I had kids, you're right. It was like people with kids do that like it was like the medal of like ultimate responsibility.
All the time.
Is it a little bit more challenging when you have children? Yes, but to tell you the truth, in the phase when I didn't have kids, it was just as challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't know who's probably taking care of parents, or or you just got life going on. So I think that's true. All of y'all with kids, stop throwing the fact that you got kids, you got to feed them snacks you know, in the faces of people who don't have kids. Because that might be a trigger.
Yeah.
You don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Maybe they want kids and they can't have them.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're throwing that in their face, you know, and one day you're going to get it. You know, one day you're going to be like, well, hell, you don't even take good care of your kids anyway. And I wish I had kids. And you're horrible. You know, or you get the response of, oh, so now the kids is preventing you from being able to do ministry, but it didn't prevent you from doing that trip.
Bingo.
Yeah, so, and then so I'll end my advice would be, the trips is, I don't have a problem with the trip, just bring all that same energy to service. That's the same energy.
Just do the same thing. I don't understand why people
Just do the same thing. That's
Do
all.
what you say you're going to do.
Do what you say you're going to do. Yes. And then the last thing, from a leader standpoint, this has been the greatest lesson, is that when you have a good team, then why don't you allow them to help build you as well, right? You're not a finished product building other people, right? You're just another building, right, that's in the building process. You may look a little bit more finished, but you're not complete. And so I have grown tremendously by listening to a Chidi, who Chidi will say, well, no, maybe you need to, think of that different. Tevin, as young as he is, and it's really humbling to do that. You know, there's been times where Tevin will be like, well, that pastor, I think that, and then Tyree be like, well, no, I think we need to do it this way. And I'm like, no, Tyree, just do it this way. He'd be like, no, that's not gonna work, pastor. Like, it's gonna look horrible. It's gonna look like trash, And then Danny is always like, well, pastor, no, that doesn't work, and there's times when I've had to come back and be like, y'all was right, So as a leader, as you all that are watching and pastors, your church is given to you to assist. And if Jesus Christ leaned on the very people he made, then surely you can lean on your team, right? And we can all make it together. So thank you guys for tuning in to this very special Bible study. I pray that it blessed you all. The comment sections went up, and it was good to read all these comments and talk to everybody, and we just look to seeing you guys again a little bit later. Yeah. All right. And even if you're going to rewatch it, share it again. And this is going to be a great season. So make sure you tune in Sunday at our services in the morning, and make sure you guys register for that in-person service. And then the last coming announcement is the Trunk or Treat drive-through, which is happening on October 31st. Yep. We're not celebrating Halloween. We're just allowing kids to have a place to go get some candy. So all you Super Save people miss me. And then the first Sunday in November, we're asking everyone to drop off their ballots at the church, and we're personally going to take it all to Norwalk to make sure that it gets in, because they playing games with y'all's mail-in ballots. And am I missing anything else? Operation Unity, oh my gosh. October 22nd, next Thursday. I need to see everybody there. I'm actually asking y'all to take a personal day. I really am. And that you take that day off and you roll with me the whole day. 8 a.m. at Long Beach, 9:30 is Compton, 12:30 is LA Board of Supervisors, Grant Park. And then at 2 o'clock is downtown LA City Hall, where we're requesting for Mayor Garcetti to come meet with us. And so hopefully we get a lot of things done. As you said. Yeah. All right, so good deal. We're good. If you don't know Jesus Christ and the pardon of your sins, get to know him. He's soon to come. And if you don't have him, you're going to hell. And if that convicted you enough right there, you can just go ahead and go to jesusfamily.com/follow. And any other information, you can look at our wonderful website. Everybody, just go check it out on GP and give a great response, so that Chidi knows he's doing a great job, because he really is, and thanks to Tyree, who's been doing a great job filming. Yes. Thank you, Tevin, for your time, and Danny, and you guys have, well, praise God.
Thank you, Pastor. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop. Yeah. All right, so we are out of here, y'all. God loves you. We love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Now lift your hands right where you are. Now may the Lord bless thee and keep thee. May he make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee such peace. And so you shall put his name upon your children, and he promised that I will bless them. Are we family? Yes. And yes, we are family. All right, y'all. Be blessed. Highly favored in the Lord.